This is vlog 5 and the last vlog for The Bluest Eye by Toni Morrison. So the reading that we had to do for this week was from the section of spring to summer and then from summer to the end of the book. And this was obviously a really big chunk and there was a lot going on and I wish I had more time that I could discuss it all, but I only have 5 minutes. So I'm gonna focus on this one specific quote that I really liked and actually wrote about it for my close reading. And the quote is on page 126 and it goes, "But I knowed she was ugly, head full of pretty hair, but Lord, she was ugly." And this is Pauline talking about Piccola when she was first born. So with this quote, there's even though it's pretty two short sentences, there's a lot going on. And first, I noticed the contrast of the words and the juxtaposition that Morrison uses. And this is like the words pretty hair and she was ugly. Those are what I'm referring to as like contrasting each other. And I also like thought this really described intersectionality because when she uses head full of pretty hair, she's giving Piccola this feminine quality and she like it's her child, she wants her to be beautiful and but then she says, "But Lord, she was ugly," because she knows that being African American, society is not going to think she's beautiful even if she is. And it's just kind of how she thought. So, and intersectionality comes to mind because she's at this crossroads between being female and being knocked down, and being African American and being knocked down. And I feel like because she's these two things, she's automatically labeled ugly. And because they don't give, I mean, I could be wrong, but I didn't notice any instance in the book where an African American male was labeled ugly. So this was just one specific quote that I liked to kind of show Morrison's contrasting of words. But there was so many other examples in her writing as well, where there was like irony and two words in the same sentence or the same paragraph, just the complete opposites. And I think this really adds to the story that she's trying to tell. And she's kind of just putting it out there like, hey, there's this and there's this, and they parallel each other. And she wants us to notice both things, if that makes sense. And I think by her kind of bringing this up in her story is just making us readers aware of all of these situations. And so it's not necessarily her overall point of the book, but I think it's definitely important for us to know that she's trying to bring awareness to this issue. And by putting words side by side that are completely different from one another, it makes it easier for me personally to see the huge contrast between them. I also found it so ironic that the whole section of spring was very morbid and a lot of bad things went down. And when I was reading it, I was kind of just like, whoa, like this is pretty dark and kind of sad. But it's interesting because spring is such a happy time and everything's blooming and everything's coming back to life. And it just seems like in this part of the story, the narrative had all of the characters kind of just in bad times. And we got a lot of background information on Choli and Pauline, but it explained some things, but it was still very dark. And I just found like Morrison's writing is just incredible in that way.